Good morning. We are doing 1.7, the distributive property. Now, last week we did 1.5. That's what you just turned in. We skipped over 1/6. All that was multiplying and dividing real numbers, which we've done before. So we're moving on to 1.7, the distributive property. The distributive property, we went over this property the other day, but we haven't actually put it into practice yet. So first thing is, let's write down what the distributive property is. If I have something in front of a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis I have b plus c, to get rid of that parenthesis, we're going to multiply everything inside the parenthesis by what's in front. So a times b plus a times c. That is what the property actually is. It's to get rid of the parentheses. I know you guys did this last year and the year before, right? Okay. Good. Okay, that's really good to hear. All right, so let's start with some examples of the distributive property. All right, so simplify. Let's say I have 4 times x plus 1. All right, because I have a number in front of the parenthesis, that means to multiply. It's right next to it, right? So we're going to start here and go 4 times x. 4x. And then 4 times 1, which is 4. We're to the end of the parenthesis, so we're done distributing. How about if I have -2 and then a parenthesis, w minus 5. All right. So again, there's a number right in front of the parenthesis, and you always take the sign with the number. So this is a -2 times w, or -2w, and then -2 times -5, positive 10. A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay? Example number 2. What if you have a parenthesis and we have, let's go, k minus 9, and then behind the parenthesis you have a 3. Does it change the fact if it's behind it or in front of it? No, it really doesn't. So what I'd like you to do is to write it in front, because that's going to make it easier for you. So instead of going backward, we're just going to write the 3 in front of the parenthesis. Then we're going to go ahead and distribute. 3 times k is 3k. 3 times -9 is -27. So you have a couple of them in your homework today where they write the number in the back. Just write it in the front. Make your life a little bit easier. Okay. All right, how about, let's get a little bit tougher. So, example number 3. All of these are examples from your sections numbers 10 through 24. 10 through 24. It says, use the distributive property to simplify. All right, and maybe we have 6 parentheses 1/2 x plus 10. So again, when you have that number right in front of the parenthesis, we get to multiply everything inside the parenthesis. So we're going to start by doing the 6 times 1/2 x. What is 1/2 of 6? 3. So this is 3x. Then we have 6 times 10. 60. Perfect. All right, let's do one more from that section. I'm going to make it a little bit tougher. You guys up for tougher?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's go with, how about 1/2 y minus 1/2 times by -1/2. First of all, which way do we really want to write this? -1/2 in front. I agree with Gina. So -1/2, parenthesis, 1/2 y minus 1/2. That's the first thing. I'd rather write it that way. Now we're going to go ahead and distribute. So I have -1/2 times 1/2 y. So I'm just going to come down here. I have -1/2 times 1/2 y. Is there anything there I can cross reduce? No. So I'm going to multiply across. -1 times 1 is -1. 2 times 2 is 4. And then I have my y. Then we go -1/2 times -1/2. So -1/2 times -1/2. Again, is there anything I can cross reduce? -1 times -1? +1. And then the bottom is 2 times 2? Or 4. No, that wasn't that hard. I agree. So is there any questions on the distributive property itself? Okay. The next one is where we sometimes have a few questions, so I want to clarify. So this would be example number 4, right? I lose track quickly. Example number 4. I'm actually going to jump to make sure. We're going to jump all the way down to 34 through 40 first, and then I'll go back for a second. All right, again, I'm going to simplify. If I just have a negative in front of the parenthesis of 7x minus 5, that negative has, it does. And it's like saying I have this magical 1 here, okay? 1 is magic. It's always there. It's hanging out. So this technically is -1 that we're going to distribute. So -1 times 7x is -7x. Yep, -1 times -5 is 5. Very good. Okay, so if there's a negative in front, that means we're going to distribute a -1. Let's do one more here. So I have a negative times A plus B minus C. Have you? So if I have a negative in front, that really means I'm going to distribute a? Go ahead, Wyatt. What did you say it was? -A? Uh-huh. Perfect. Very good. -1 times A, -1 times B, and -1 times a negative makes it a positive. Nice job. Okay, so the actual distributive property isn't too bad. There is another section in here where we're actually going to use the distributive property in a different way. All right, so we're going to use the distributive property to write the sum or difference. So here are the steps I want you to think about. Step number 1, put the denominator under each. Step number 2, reduce each fraction if possible. So your problems are going to be written like this. Let's say I have 4x plus 3 all over 2. Okay? So what we're really going to do, yes? Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to split this up. We're going to write this as two separate. We're going to distribute this 2 to the bottom of that one and the bottom of that one. Okay, so our first step is we put the denominator underneath each. So we go 4x over 2 plus 3 over 2. Then the next step is if we can reduce either fraction, we do that. Can I reduce either one? Good. So 4 over 2 is what, Wyatt? Good. So we have 2x here, and then I can't reduce to 3/2, so I'm going to leave it as 3/2. Yes. Yeah, sign out for me really quick, okay? All right. All right, so example number 5, thank you. Example 5. This is what you are doing for 26 through 32. 26 through 32. Write as a sum or difference. So let's say I have 5x minus 3 all over 3. So step number 1, we're going to distribute that 3 on the bottom underneath both pieces. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go 5x over 3 minus 3 over 3. Does anybody have a question with that step? Yes. No. No, good try though. All right, can I reduce the first fraction? No, 5x over 3 doesn't reduce. What about 3 over 3? That is 1, I agree. This would be your final answer, 5x over 3 minus 1. Let's do one more. Let's say I have, 4x plus 7 over 5. So again, we have to distribute that 5 denominator to both pieces. So the very first thing we're going to write it is at 4x over 5 plus 7 over 5. Can I reduce either of those fractions? Nope, so we're done. Okay. Not too bad? Okay. Last thing I have to talk to you about is mental math. And if I say mental math, it's not really mental. I need you to show your work because I can't read your minds, right? I need you to show your work for full credit. So let's say I have 8 times 5.2. What I want to do is take that decimal and break it up. So 5.2 is closest to 5. Does everybody agree with that? So we're going to rewrite this to use the distributive property as 8 times 5 plus 0.2. Then we're going to distribute. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 0.2, 8 times 0.2 is 1.6. So 40 plus 1.6 is 41.6. All right, let's do another one, and then we're going to do an actual example. How about if I had 299 times 3? Well, we're going to put 3 in front of the parentheses. 299 is close to what? 300. So it's actually 300 minus 1, right? So we can go ahead and distribute. 3 times 300 is 900. And 3 times negative 1, negative 3. So we get 800 and, perfect, 897. Okay, so here is our last example today. Example number 6. Example number 6. All right, this is what you are doing for 42 through 52. Nope, through 50. 42 through 50. It says, use mental math. To find the product. And again, anytime it says mental math, you have to show your work. Must show work. All right. So let's say I have, how about 7 times 8.1. Good. 8 plus 0.1. So then when we go ahead and distribute, what's 7 times 8? You're close. 50. It's all right. 56. Good. And then 7 times 0.1? 0.7. So 56 plus 0.7 is 56.7. Let's do one subtraction one. How about, I want to do this one. Let's say I have 4 times 3.7. We can do 3 and 0.7, but 3.7 is actually closer to what? 4. So we could write this as 4 minus 0.3, right? So that's an option. Or we can do it the other way. So 4 times 4, 16, and 4 times 0.3 is 1.2. So what's 16 minus 1.2? 14.8, right? 16 minus 1 is 15, then you got to subtract another 0.2. All right? So, first section you're doing a normal distributive property, then you have that sum and difference that you have to write out, and then you have mental math, and that's it. You guys still have 25 minutes if you want to go ahead and get started today. All right? Sound good? And then tomorrow we're going to continue and add more on to our distributive property. So today's the beginning. Tomorrow we expand it. Okay?